I think winter has become my favorite season here. That's when you get those dramatic views. Brings out all the colors and the gray pops, and I feel like it's kind of like Mecca or the center of the universe. It's not a fluffy place to come. It's not a feel-good, boost your ego. It's just like you get a beating. Yeah, if I could only climb one place for the rest of my life, it would be Yosemite.
Since 1966, we have viewed walls not as obstacles, but as opportunities. From the big walls of Yosemite to the high peaks of the Himalaya, we were searching for a personal kind of freedom. In this pursuit, we found a community, strengthened by different stories, experiences, and perspectives. This community has shown us that the only way forward is together.
Here we go again.
The battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others. Join the fight.
Welcome to the USA Climbing National Team Trials presented by YETI. We are in Memphis, Tennessee, where the best climbers in the country have gathered to compete for a national team spot after over a year away from competitions. We're at the beautiful High Point Climbing and Fitness here in Music City. Following an exciting semifinals round, these athletes are preparing to give it their all. We're back for the women's bouldering finals, and the athletes are currently finishing up their preview of the boulders. I'm Megan Martin alongside Alex Johnson. And Alex, the rounds that we've seen so far with the qualifying round and the semifinal round, they've been very difficult. And after looking at the boulders, it seems like they're not letting up.
Yeah, the first two rounds this weekend have been really exciting. A little bit of upset in who made the finals. Some names you're familiar with. And walking through and previewing these rounds. The finals boulders seem like possibly the most fun boulders I've ever seen. Really excited about seeing what these women will do tonight.
We're going to take a look at that running order right now. Now remember that the first person going out is that 6th place finisher, being Kyra Condi, one of our Olympic qualifiers, followed by Campbell Serenopoulos, Kylie Cullen, Megan Lynch, Brooke Rabatou, and Natalia Grossman. And Alex, who is your pick to end up on the podium tonight?
I like to pull for the dark horses, and tonight I think I'm going to have to say Megan Lynch. She has really shown up this weekend and climbing really confidently and really proving that she deserves to be here. Super impressive climbing from her in the semifinals and qualifying round, and I can't wait to see what she does tonight. Who's your pick, Megan?
So I'm going to have to go with Natalia Grossman. She has been on fire for the last couple of years, and she is the 2020 Bouldering Nationals champion for the women. And she's had some amazing rounds since she's been here. And in the semifinal round earlier today, she was able to top 3 of the 4 boulders and even had one hand on the finish hold for that 4th boulder and let that top just slip away barely. So I know she's going to come into this round with a lot of fire. And I feel like we're going to see some great things from her tonight. We're going to start in a couple minutes. Kyra Condi out there ready to get going, and let's get this finals off to a start.
Can't wait to watch. You guys are going to be in for an awesome treat tonight. These boulders look amazing.
Kyra Condi just waiting for that go-ahead to get started on women's number 1. And taking a look at it, this is probably the most dynamic boulder we've seen thus far in the competition, as it's starting with a nice run across for the women to attempt, and you know, not something that they're not used to seeing. I think this is a movement that's practiced a lot, but the route setters are definitely capable of making each run across a little different, so it's kind of more of a learned movement.
Definitely a learned movement, and a movement that Kyra's been actively working on. I think the route setters really wanted to come out with kind of a show opener for finals here tonight. We don't have spectators, so everyone watching will be on YouTube tonight, and I think this is an awesome show opener. A run across, dyno, and then once you stick that jug at the end of the run across, it's a downward jump onto the gray volume below, and then you double hand catch the zone hold.
Really nice correction there by catching it with 2 hands on that 2nd attempt. Looks like she's going to try to static down, changing her mind quickly with the better decision.
I'm always right.
I didn't say you were wrong. She was doing that. Really nicely into the zone. Now this is where the boulder is going to get a little more technical.
The way I sequenced this was with the arete, some compression out to the right with the right hand and a heel hook. Really hard squeezing on that sloper, and Kyra's gonna have, I think, some skin issues. She's one of the athletes competing in all 3 disciplines this weekend. It's 5 days of climbing. Super nice finish here for Kyra in the finals.
Really nice pop. Nice use of that arete as well. You called that perfectly. And hopefully all of the women see that. Since they did get to preview, that's probably something they did talk about.
Right.
But sometimes it's easy to get tunnel vision about features.
2020 Bouldering Nationals, 20 semifinals athletes came out for Boulder 1, and there was a hold around the left arete, and I think 2 or 3 used it. 2 or 3 saw it and used it, and I was one of the 20 that didn't see it.
And I was in the booth just wishing I could tell you all to use that arete. It was painful to watch. I remember that. Really nice lateral dyno there for Kyra. Good fix, choosing not to go static. Really committing to that press, getting that 1 hand on the top, and making sure she secured herself before bringing that second hand. She's been rushing it a bit lately, so it was nice to see her think about her body positions a little bit more and not leave anything at risk. Campbell Saranopoulos, 17 years old. This is her first adult competition, and she just made finals, which is really exciting to see. That younger generation is very talented, and we're seeing them more and more come into these adult competitions and really excel. Getting into that run across, didn't generate quite enough to get
With
over.
so many steps needed to get over to how far away that right jug is, you really have to sort of drive your momentum over your knees and keep your center of gravity, which is your upper body, like charging forward. Otherwise, as soon as you start to peel back, you lose that momentum.
It's a little better on that attempt, but it really is like a sprint across, especially if you're smaller. You saw that she was, or is 5'1", so she's gonna need to generate even more than someone like Kyra, who's 3 inches taller.
Right. Yeah, we're gonna need to see her like keep her head down and like charge.
She does train at ABC Kids Climbing, so this is something that the coaches are prepping their athletes for, so it's not something new to her, but she is on that bigger stage and currently doing a good job with her adjustments on each try. It is really good, especially on a boulder like this, to take a second, because you can easily find yourself feeling winded after literally doing cardio on the boulder. So you want to make sure you save your energy way better. Getting closer and closer each time. Plenty of time on the clock still.
2 minutes is definitely still enough time to get stuff done, and especially if you come back and you think and readjust every time. You're not just throwing yourself at that move over and over and over again, because then you'll end up in a repetitive cycle. And so every time she steps back and changes her beta a little bit, she's going to get a little bit closer.
Exactly, and literally seeing her get closer and closer each time. I think she almost touched it that time. It is a pretty coordinated movement to throw out right at the beginning of the round, although the fact that they competed earlier this afternoon makes it a little bit easier to come out and be ready for something like this.
The residual warm-up remains.
For me, I always felt like I couldn't warm up that much because I'm old. Oh, this has a great name. The bouldering route setters also have decided to start naming the boulders, and head route setter Nick Oklubja came up with a great name for this specific one. They like to call it track and field, as the women are having to sprint across those volumes.
1 minute remaining for Campbell here.
Since this boulder doesn't have a lot of moves, if she can stick that jump, she should be able to at least get to the zone, if not the top. But she's really going to need to explode a little bit more off that volume. It might be a good idea if she could try to get both feet on, so she was exploding off of both legs instead of just the one, since she is on the smaller side. Trying to build that momentum.
She's getting stuck on that middle volume there, trying to do a sidestep move instead of the step through. And that's what Kyra did that sort of kept her momentum charging forward, was the step through. And I think as soon as Campbell starts to try to do the sidestep, that's what pulls her momentum, you know, upright. Her body posture goes from charging forward to standing straight up, and that's what's pulling her off the wall.
Looks like she's gonna go ahead and let her time run out and prep for that next boulder behind the wall. She'll get no points for that boulder because of not getting to the zone. Remember, points are only awarded when you hit the zone or a top. Otherwise, you'll have a score of 0.
New scoring format this year at the 2021 USA National Team Trials. We have aligned with IFSC scoring, so you'll notice there are no 5, 10, 15, and 25 point hold markers on the wall. It is only zone and top, and those are the two important holds to grab. There's no points for any other holds. Getting the top is the most important, just as it is outside. It's ascend, and then the zone is the only other hold that matters.
Kylie Cullen waiting for her time to start on women's number 1. There are 4 boulders tonight with 4 minutes on each boulder, and different from those earlier rounds, the women are going to go behind the wall between each climb and move on after each problem is done as a group.
Kylie got called off there because along with the scoring, start positions have also aligned with IFSC, and so it's a forced 4-point start. There's 4 pieces of tape on. They could be the hold, the wall, and it's sort of a choose your own adventure. There's no designated start hands or start feet. It's just 4 start points, and all 4 points need to be touching something that's touching those blue pieces of tape. And so here it's very straightforward, 2 hands, 2 feet. Sometimes the route setters like to try to make really funky starts where the tape could be, you know, starfish, or like we saw in semifinals, 3 points on one and 1 on the other. And it could be like a high toe hook over the head. You never know.
And it actually makes it a little harder during their preview time, or if they're in a different round without a preview, to figure out the start. It can kind of zap some of your time if it's not super straightforward. So it adds a whole nother element to the whole process of the round. This is definitely a problem where going too many times a row, especially wearing the mask, might feel a little more intense because it's more of a cardio movement, since you're actually running on the aptly named track and field boulder.
There's that side step again. I think the step through is going to be the way. And when she swings her leg back like that on the start, that's what's generating the momentum. And then when you swing it forward, it has to be a really powerful swing forward to really charge your momentum. You have a long way to go and a lot of ground to cover running across those volumes, and you really have to come at it aggressively to get to that jug.
Exactly, and being that that last volume is a little bit bigger in surface area, I really think it'd be a good idea for them to try to jump off of 2 feet. It's just going to make them more explosive, and they have enough time to bring that other foot in, and it would give them way more power to get to that jug. Great example of the route setters finding out new ways to challenge the athletes with these run across movements. Even if you've seen them, they're always a little different. Ooh, little slip there. Still 1:20 to go, plenty of time to make things happen, and we've seen this a lot. Nice buzzer beaters, especially on boulders that don't have too many moves where you can kind of rush at the end.
These run across boulders can be really frustrating because you know what you have to do, and it's just a matter of executing, and they are time consuming. Like every time you go, you need to rest. And I did a few of these in the mock comp at the training center, and you know what you have to do to execute, you're just not executing, and so it can be really frustrating.
Exactly. I'm finding myself leaning every time she sets up
totally.
to go. I'm just like leaning all the way to the right, trying to get her to build that momentum a little more. That looks better.
Was way better, yeah.
Very good. One-handed. We saw Kyra go with a 2-hand approach, but Kylie stuck it nicely with that wrap into that lateral dyno. It's definitely enough time, but she is going to have to move a little bit quicker up at the top. Hopefully she uses that arete like we saw Kyra use earlier. Don't think she saw it. But at least she did get the zone, so points on the board there for Kylie Cullen, putting her in second place currently. 9 tries to get to that zone. Really great execution here. She went with the more of a wrap orientation with her hand on that jug, making it easier to catch it one-handed. Didn't quite see how she could use the arete, but she is another one of the younger competitors, and though a seasoned youth athlete, this is only her 2nd year on the adult stage, so with experience you start to notice more of those tricks and paying more attention to the wall and where a feature might be. So I'm sure we'll see more of that.
That also comes with doing World Cups, you know. World
Totally.
Cups, So a lot of climbing outside is basically anything goes. Like you start and go to the top, and inside we get so kind of boxed in with like arbitrary rules, like only the blue holds, or you can only use what's taped, and you're moonboarding, and you can't heel hook, and all. There's like all these rules that come into it, and then you end up in a comp, and you're like, oh, I can only use black holds and no heel hooking, and you're like, wait, what? No, whatever it takes to get to the top, you know. And that's kind of how foreign competitors grow up competing, and they're really good at seeing things, in my experience, that I wasn't as good at seeing, and missing things like grabbing the arete or using a corner or being able to like manipulate volumes like that.
Exactly. Megan Lynch just took her first attempt on the boulder, trying to figure out exactly what movement she needs here. Not generating enough there, but such a learned movement. I'm sure she'll start to get the hang of it. We saw her in 2020 in Bouldering Nationals finals. That was her first adult Bouldering Nationals that she made, and she ended up 6th there. Looking really great this week. Little fumble there on the volume, kind of got her chest too close to the wall. Setting up again, trying to get a little more momentum.
Take a breather. You don't know you get tired doing these run and jump things because you're not climbing, you're not pulling.
Exactly. I think it is too sometimes difficult. You start to overthink, oh, do I need to use all of the volumes? Am I putting my feet in the right place? When really you just need to kind of think more about feeling, which she just did. And that was more successful than when she kind of rapid fired and was really paying attention to her feet before. And now she just kind of let her body take over. She definitely needs to take a little break again. I think that would help. Just kind of pushing it a bit. See if she can put it together this time. She knows what to do.
2 minutes, still plenty of time on the clock. We saw Kylie sort of nab it in the 11th hour there.
What you were saying earlier really is so true. This kind of thing is so frustrating. In your mind, you're like, I just got to get back on the wall. I can do it this time, I know.
Right.
And you kind of just rush it when you kind of need to take that same approach as you do in any other kind of movement on a boulder.
Exactly.
Where you kind of take a step back, rest yourself, and then go instead of rapid firing.
It's kind of like, one of these times I'll stick it, and in reality, like, we've gone to World Cups and you see run and jumps like this, and you'll see like a climber on the Japanese team, before they even get on the wall, they mimic the move on the ground. Like, they'll do the run across move on the ground as if they were doing it, so then when they get on the wall to do it, it doesn't feel like their first attempt because they already have that muscle memory in their quiver because they did it on the ground. And so it's, you still have to take your time, like, be precise. It's not just really like a throw yourself at it thing.
Exactly, and each time she's going, she's taking an attempt, and I'm not honestly quite sure which attempt she's on, but I would guesstimate in like the 10s and 11s at this point. So when she does get the zone, that's a lot of attempts that you're adding to your overall score. 30 seconds left. See if she can make it happen at the last minute.
Yeah, she's standing too upright. Her posture needs to be like leaning forward in the direction she's going, so she can really drive over the knee and keep that momentum heading to the right.
So close, only 10 seconds left, and it looks like she's gonna call it. So no points on the board for Megan Lynch, but really good effort, and there's still 3 boulders to come. She'll just have to keep it together in this round. It's never over till it's over. They actually, to their advantage, do know the boulders that are next. So that's a different mindset than in the semifinals and the qualifiers. When you know what's coming up, you can think, okay, I know one of the boulders that I'm gonna get on next suits me better. Whereas in qualifiers, you don't really, in semifinals, you don't know. And you're just hoping that there's one that's your style if you're messing up on another.
That, and in this format, they get longer rest because there's only one athlete on the wall at a time. The rest go back into ISO and wait, and you can be back there for up to 4 minutes times 6 is 24 minutes. You know,
Exactly.
I told you earlier I was good at math.
You're so good at
You
math.
get 24-minute rest, you know, which is far more beneficial than the 5 minutes you get sitting there between rounds. So you can basically fully recover.
Exactly. Brooke Rabbitoux taking a quick review of women's number 1 as she steps up for her first attempt.
She definitely took a look at that arête.
Yep, she sees it. Another seasoned competitor. Also another one of our qualified Olympic athletes. Oh, okay. For a second I thought she was going to try to static it, but
She probs could.
that would be impressive.
Yeah.
It might take a while,
We
but
were talking
really
earlier about
impressive.
how she likes to stick her little toes in the T-nut holes of volumes and stuff. She could totally tippy-top her way.
We should see if after the comp she wants to try. Good momentum, a lot better on that attempt. Definitely
Really close first few goes.
Yeah.
Especially for one of the shorter competitors.
Yep, she's really familiar with this kind of movement. I feel like she's been training on moves like this since she was 5. So, and that's not true. It's probably
No,
like
I
8
bet
years
it
old,
is.
though.
I
I think
bet it
8
is
would
true.
be accurate.
I think I remember Brooke being like 5 or 6 at youth nationals. Fritz bit her once. Fritz doesn't like kids.
Fritz is Alex's dog, in case you don't know.
Brooke is the only person that Fritz has ever bit in her entire life.
2 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock. She's gotten closer each time, so she's just really trying to hone in on that movement to get that momentum. That was even closer than the previous attempt.
Something,
Again,
whoops,
go
sorry.
ahead.
So something rad we're seeing that Brooke is doing that the women before her haven't done yet is the arm momentum. The rest of the girls stayed matched and just swung the leg, and Brooke is completely opening up and like throwing her arm towards the hold as well, and that you get twice as much momentum the more limbs, like swinging 2 limbs to 1, you know?
Exactly, and as one of the shorter competitors, she knows she needs to build momentum even stronger than some of the taller competitors.
Right.
And I was gonna say before you brought up the arm motion is that 2 feet on the last volume is another way, but the arm swinging is very beneficial, as we just saw her easily stick the run across that time.
Right in the bolt hole.
Into that arête, and T-nut, foot in the T-nut.
Fully. I'm telling you.
If this was gymnastics, that would be called the Rabbitoux.
We can call it that.
It's the Rabbitoux.
Make it up.
Why not?
Going for the finish here. Super smooth.
Gonna set that heel, or actually a toe. Nice match and a top for Brooke Rabbitoux.
Cool to see both our Olympians have topped so far, because they are approaching this event as a training and a practice. They have already qualified for not only the Olympics, of course, but really cool seeing this arm swing again to generate that momentum.
She also went more with a wrap on that jug to catch it one hand. Really nice control here, good tension with her feet as she slowly and calmly went to that top hold and then secured it with that nice toe hook. Really great climbing from Brooke Rabbitoux. So she got a top in 5 tries, which puts her below Kyra Condi right now, but a great start for the round.
An awesome confidence going into the next 4 months leading up to the season. This is the only chance that they will get to compete in the format of all 3 disciplines before the Tokyo 2021 games in August.
Natalia Grossman stepping up onto the mat, waiting for that go-ahead to get started on women's number 1. She is the leader in this competition today. Nice little smile there. She's smized. You can see it in her eyes. With all the mask wearing these days, everyone's ready to be a model. We've all learned how to smize.
Right.
Taking a quick second look before she gets going. I would be really impressed if anyone can do this jump first try, just because it's a tricky run across. And we saw Kyra do it second try earlier, but I think it would be a really hard move to flash. And as we've seen, none of the women were able to do it, but route setters are doing a great job here. Nice close up on those volumes. The texture's pretty nice, so it's not too crazy to have to run across, but if you hit in a wrong position, sometimes you do slip, and we've seen a few of the women, and Natalia just kind of did that as well. Wiping off her shoes.
A lot on the line here for most of our finalists as they are trying to earn a spot on our 2021 national team, and that would allow them to compete in the World Cups that are coming up this summer. The first one is in Switzerland, April 16th and 17th. One of my favorite events, honestly.
I actually agree. That is, it's funny that I was wondering if you would say that, because that is one of my favorites too. It's a great town. It's a small little town.
Yeah,
Meiringen,
great setting, great crowd.
Great crowd, great food. There's a cheese toast you can buy while you're there at the venue.
There was a really cool American who won a Bouldering World Cup in Switzerland back in 2010. I don't know if you remember who that was.
Oh, was her name possibly Alex Johnson?
It might have been.
Very nice stick there from Natalia Grossman. Just needs to make sure her swing is in the right direction before she drops over to that zone. Nicely done. Ooh, ouch. Oh, I thought she hit herself, but it looks like she's just, well, maybe she did.
It's kind of an aggressive move,
Yeah.
dropping like any kind of drop down move, whether it's onto your feet or on your, like a dyno on your shoulders. Or
yeah, I
it's
couldn't
always a
tell
little
if she
aggressive.
like kind of hit her knee weirdly or if she was just wiping off her shoe.
Hopefully the latter.
I agree. She's looking good here using that arete. And a nice
That
the
Team
little
ABC, the
peanut.
Rabbitoo.
Yeah, the Rabbitoo, a nice example of the newly dubbed Rabbitoo move.
They
with
train
that
together.
foot and the T-nut. It really is a useful tool.
I can never get my toes in those things. I've tried. Brooke's like, just put your toe in the bolt hole. And I'm like, I can't.
New
It doesn't
shoes is
fit.
definitely the way to go. One hand on the finish, needs to secure her body position.
Awesome.
Very nice job. Another top for Natalia Grossman. See where she ends up based off of her tries. Remember, with the scoring system, it's tops, zones, attempts to tops, and attempts to zones. Really nice form there on that dyno. She did kind of cut it close with that minute left, but great way for her to start the round. I'm sure she feels confident going into the next few boulders. And again, the women have seen what they have coming up, so it's very
A little less cardio.
a little less cardio, yeah.
A little more pulling.
Interesting. So Brooke and Natalia both did that in 5 tries. So that puts Brooke in 3rd place currently because she came in a lower rank from Natalia. So Natalia's in 2nd at the moment and Kyra's in 1st. As we move into women's number 2. A very interesting boulder, which
Oh, I think this looks awesome.
it's really cool, and I know the root setters intended there to be a hand jam, so I'm very curious if the women will use it or not. I'm a pincher, so my first thought was I'm gonna pinch it.
I'm a
not,
crimper.
I'm not gonna use the hand jam,
My
but
first thought was to crimp it.
I really hope they do use a hand jam because that's always cool to see inside.
Guarantee you not. No way.
Yeah.
This is a pretty straightforward power boulder, in my opinion.
Toe
and
jam.
Kyra's gonna eat this for breakfast.
Definitely
She's one of
having her Wheaties right now.
Yeah, there is a jib up, like a hold up on the top left, and I keep starting a sentence. One of, if not the strongest female boulders in America right now.
100%.
Her finger strength is
Nice use
out
of
of
the
this
knee.
world. Yeah, great. Dab.
One hand in that top position.
Awesome.
Wow, nice flash there for Kyra Condi. By the way, this boulder has been dubbed the Power Wrangle, and I think that's pretty appropriate. That was all power in that attempt. She is relieved to have just flashed that boulder. This is definitely a style that Kyra excels at, as
For
Alex
sure.
was saying. She is one of the strongest and most powerful boulders in the U.S. right now, and this is something that she knows she can do, and she came into it with complete confidence and was able to execute.
And only getting stronger. Like, we were training together last 2019 when we were trying to qualify for the Olympics, and neither of us could do a one arm, and now she's like ripping weighted one arms.
Yeah.
I'm still doing the dangle. But it's been really cool to see her progression. And what's awesome, I know we're only 50% done, but Kyra has never won either a bouldering. I mean, this is the first time we're doing the team trials event, but Kyra's never won a bouldering national, and so I know that that's something that she really wants to do.
Yeah, it would be really big for her to make that happen. Campbell Serenopoulos stepping up, waiting for the go-ahead to get on women's number 2. Taking another quick look at it. Really nice use of the wall there to get into that starting position. It really can be confusing switching to the other scoring system, and we used to have a rule in USA Climbing about not being able to touch the wall, so it's nice to see that the athletes are familiarizing themselves with that new scoring system.
Mm-hmm. And in the new format, aligning with IFSC, you can use, the wall doesn't really count as a hold, so you can use the wall to establish and get on, and it doesn't count as an attempt, which is cool.
She needs to generate a little bit more to get into that crimp. I also think she kind of hit it a little high, so if she can aim a bit better. It is a really biting crimp, so all these women in this final have very strong fingers, so if they can get their fingers in the right spot, they shouldn't have any issues holding on and getting that zone. Here are the current standings after women's number 1, with Kyra Condi in first with 1 top in 2 tries. Oh, actually she's at 2 tops now, but we're not, so this is just after number 1, the full results. Sorry, results after number 1. Got a little tongue-tied there. Whoops.
It's been a lot of talking today.
It's honestly with the mask too. I'm not gonna lie, I know the athletes aren't complaining about the masks, but I swear it's making me jumbled a bit.
Awesome. Oh, that's the right idea for sure. I think knowing, with Campbell being a shorter climber, knowing that her toe probably won't stay in that slot, sort of being able to absorb the swing a little bit and expecting the toe to come out. If she had a little more bend in her arm, she might be able to hold that swing. Just sort of like being aware that that momentum will pull you out with a little more bend in the arm. It should be able to absorb that momentum a little bit.
She also might want to just commit to bringing that left hand over into the
Pinch.
volume as well,
Right.
just to, because if she's gonna cut, she might as well have 2 hands on versus 1.
Right.
Or I guess 2 hands up by her instead of 1 lower. Getting that toe nicely jammed in there. I think she's also hitting it a little low. She's kind of not getting the best part of the hold. It's making it a little harder. But maybe she just jumps into it a little more. Because like you said, it's going to cut.
Right.
She's not going to be able to keep it on because she is 5'1".
Authority. You control the boulder doesn't control you.
Exactly. You see her kind of getting extended and not quite hitting the right part of that hold, and then her toe coming off right after. .40 seconds left, see if she can adjust here. That looked a little better. She had more momentum, but I do still think she's trying to keep her foot on, which isn't a bad idea generally. It's just for this specific move, it would be better for her to commit to a cut. So she's gonna end up with another 0 on boulder number 2, but still 2 more boulders to go. And ones that I think would actually suit her a bit better than these first 2. As you see, we just have some coaches and volunteers.
Route setters.
That is all we have in the crowd. Everyone's working. You want to be here, you gotta work. Kylie Cullen getting ready to get on women's number 2. Now, she has a very large wingspan which I'm personally jealous of. So she shouldn't have an issue getting to this zone hold. Nice tap to establish on that 4-point start. Ooh, her foot just kind of slipped out of the jam prematurely.
Kind of saw Kyra and Campbell wedge it in there a little bit, and I think that helps with the initial move over to the zone hold. You get kind of a toe hook catch before it starts to slide out, and I think you need that a little bit.
I definitely agree, but that's a pretty easy adjustment to make. And
for sure.
I think she'll probably make that adjustment. Plenty of time still. She does have a zone already for women's number 1, so there's points on the board for her, but definitely want to get points on each boulder.
Right. They are battling it out for spots on the U.S. team. It's the top 3 ranked women here tonight, not including our Olympians, Kyra and Brooke. So regardless of how they place, they're already eligible for all the World Cups, including obviously the Olympics. And whoever places best 3 outside of them will be our 2021 national team, and that gives you eligibility to go to all the World Cups. Switzerland we talked about already, but there are 2 back-to-back World Cups in Salt Lake City.
Which for a lot of these athletes competing here, or a couple of them, they haven't done an adult World Cup, and to do one in the U.S. is always a really big deal. So there's really a lot on the line, especially for those younger competitors wanting to get that experience in early.
Tons of experience, and also such a great show. The first one's May 21st and 22nd, and that's bouldering only. And then the following weekend, May 28th through 30th, Memorial Day weekend, will be bouldering and speed. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, if you've never watched a Speed World Cup, it is insane.
Even you can't blink, because if you do, it'll be that fast. It's actually wild to watch people who are very good at speed climb. It's exciting
a totally
too.
different sport.
Yeah, it's like being on a track
obviously,
meet.
right?
I think it's so exciting.
There were a few bouldering speed comboed World Cups that we did in this circuit 2019, and it's impossible not to get into it watching it. Like, it's head to head. And some of them are so neck and neck, and you'd think that it's running track, you know, it's repetitive, it's the same thing, but it's not. Like, racing is so exciting and super cool to watch, and that's sort of like what speed brings to climbing for spectators, especially spectators who aren't familiar with climbing as much. I mean, speed's as straightforward as it gets. It's who got to the top fastest.
Exactly. And in an outdoor venue, I think it'll be even cooler, too.
Right.
Kylie's still struggling to get to this zone. That actually could work for her. Oh, doesn't want to try it again. Gonna save her energy. Again, having seen the boulders previously, that's a decision you can make confidently. And she does already have that zone score from that first boulder, which will give her a little more room to relax going into the next boulder. Megan Lynch walking up to women's number 2. She did not get any points on women's number 1, so she's going to really want to make something happen here. Now, I also think that this is a boulder that she should excel at. It's more her style than that coordination boulder.
Right, and she's shown sort of dominating strength throughout the rounds, leading her into finals tonight, and so...
Yeah, she has a lot of finger strength, and she's quite powerful. So as long as she climbs smart here, I think that she should make it happen pretty quickly.
And we saw her make finals last year at the 2021 Bouldering Nationals, and that was great, but she showed up this weekend, I think, a totally different climber. Like, she's confident, she's powerful, and you can see it in her movement. Like, she's always been strong, but she really showed up this weekend with an attitude that was like, I belong here, I deserve to be here, and I'm doing World Cups. And that's been really cool to see.
It's been awesome. I actually had a second to chat with her about that, and she said that in this past year and with the pandemic, she's just worked a lot on remembering that she loves climbing, and it's just about her love of climbing and not so much about the competition itself, and that's helped her to be able to excel more in competitions, to just remember that at the end of the day she loves climbing and she wants to be here and have fun. And we've seen that work for her really well at this competition.
For sure.
Just needs to get into this blocked hold. She's kind of not pulling in enough. Her hips are a little far out moving into that blocked hold. Once you get the hold, it's pretty good, but if you don't get deep enough in it, you can't do much with it. So she needs to really pull those hips in and explode through the biceps, which we know she can do. We saw her do it earlier in the semifinal round on that volume boulder with,
right.
That was all biceps.
Right.
So she's got to put it together. Quick little look here. You see she hits pretty shallow. She's also overshooting
hit the blocker.
it. Yeah.
That'll
So
do
if
it.
she could just be a little more precise there. Let's see if she can make it happen this time.
To quote Ty Landman, my favorite dosage segment. It's like this envelope slot.
Stop it. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I almost feel like she should maybe brush the hold too. Little quick close-up of the hold that she's trying to go to. You see she keeps kind of missing the middle part and also overshooting it and hitting that blocker, so it throws off her momentum and then she can't get the right part of the hold. And it is a dynamic movement. It's not like you can go to it super static. So you do kind of have to just accurately dead point into that hold.
Smart that she's smearing on the wall, you know, kind of gearing up for that move instead of trying to keep her toes on that like small little slopey foothold. I think she's a little bit of a taller athlete, and so for her to get into that red undercling crimp using, you know, the biggest foothold on the wall, which is the wall, it's pretty smart.
I like that she's resting now, but I feel like she should have timed her rest out a little bit more earlier on, because this is a very powerful boulder, and I think she kind of zapped her energy a little bit too early. But all she really needs to do is get to the zone at this point to put some points on the board. I feel like it's stressful going into the third boulder without any points on the board.
For sure.
But I don't think she's going to be able to make it happen, unfortunately. Gonna go ahead and go back to behind the wall and prep for that next boulder mentally. That's the biggest thing. You have to let go of each boulder after you've climbed on it, because you can't go back. What's happened has happened, and if you harp on it, it's not going to get you through the next couple of boulders. So that's a big mental component to just let things go.
You could feel like it's already over, but this round is 50% over, and she could come out and flash the last two boulders and no one else could get off the ground, and then she would win. It's,
Exactly.
it's never over.
You just
I've
don't
literally
know.
seen that.
Yeah. 100%. Brooke Rabatou.
Negative 0.5 wingspan. Nice. Not a young albatross here. That sucks.
Yeah, it really, I mean, and she's
That's the worst one I've
only
seen. At least everyone
she's
else
only
has been
5'2".
0.
Usually if you're a negative, you're at least like 5'3", 5'4".
Yeah, T-Rex arms.
Yeah, it just goes to show you how talented she is. Makes anything work. I mean, that I'm always like, okay, Brooke can reach that. I have no excuses.
Right? Negative 0.5.
Getting ready to get on the boulder for her first attempt. Definitely a boulder that she should like. Gonna set up for this dynamic movement. Nicely done. Really smart to dead point at the lower part of the hold because she's smaller. That way she didn't get too spanned.
That, and what she did that was different from Megan there was she had a straight right arm and basically used it as a lever to, and with her legs to push herself up to the left hand blocked hold instead of like bending at the bicep and trying to power her way through it. Her right arm was straight and she levered up to it.
Yeah, really good use of that movement and just like the body positioning, using it to your advantage so that you're not like working for it as much.
The quads are bigger than the biceps. I don't care who you are.
It's true. It
Actually,
looks like
maybe not me.
Actually, yeah, maybe not you. It looks like she kind of did the same sort of thing that Campbell did earlier, where she's really trying to keep her foot on, where I think maybe for her as well, it might be beneficial to just kind of jump into it more.
And she's strong enough too. She can let it rip and hold that.
It did kind of hurt a little bit watching her come off that cheetah hold. Those things hurt so bad when you dry fire off of them.
Losing skin for sure. And it's day 2 out of
too many.
7, 8, I don't know how many rounds she's doing. 9 or something.
Lots of rounds.
6, 7, 8. Depends on how far she goes in speed because it's head to head.
Very true. Like I said, many rounds.
Yeah.
Really good use of her rest time here. That's one thing that I think you'll see a lot in the competitors that have been doing this for a longer time. They really are specific about how much time they rest and intentional about conserving energy. Let's see if she can power up into this a little bit better. Looks like she's gonna get a little drop.
Nice.
That was
good.
closer for sure.
It's interesting that we haven't seen any of them match on that left hand yet. I don't know if the foot isn't good enough, but
Really nice drop knee setup and got her hand on the hold, but her momentum was coming out too much instead of to the left. If she can move it to the left more, I think she could come into that volume with her left hand and make it work.
or use the swing to her advantage a little bit.
Exactly. Ooh.
Oh, yes.
Genius.
Now we've got Brookie Beta going.
Love it. Toe jam, upside down.
Man, I did a moonboard session with her and Natalia the other day, and they were doing this junk the entire time. And I was like, I can't do this. And they're like, just put your feet above your head and do a toe hook. And I was like, no, I can't. This is like
T-nut
standard
in the
Brook
T-nut.
Beta. Yeah, dude.
That was very exciting. I hope she has enough time to get back there and get into the zone.
That would work too, to get her just to the zone, you know?
Yeah, and with already having a top, I mean, a zone would be okay here.
Come on, girl. Yo.
Into the zone nicely with that heel hook. Not going to have enough time to finish, unfortunately,
Man,
but at least she got
bummed.
to zone. Yeah, that was definitely frustrating.
Yeah. I mean,
Her creative beta, though, was so exciting, though I wish she had thought about that heel hook a little bit sooner because that was so easy for her with
Right.
that heel. Got
Casual.
right into it. Really casual.
if she would have figured that out sooner.
Oh, she would have
We would've
definitely
seen a
walked away
top.
with the top. But
Yeah.
a zone is still good. And again, one of the athletes who this is more of a training competition versus trying to make the team because she's already qualified for all the World Cups, being one of the Olympic qualified athletes. So really good work there. You know, one thing about that in general was she tried something new every try.
Right.
And that's something that's really hard for people to do. Tunnel vision is a serious thing. So if nothing else, that's another good moment of making good decisions on a tricky boulder.
Right. And every time she did something different, it still played to a different one of her strengths. And that's something that you see a seasoned competitor doing, and also someone trying to prepare for the Olympics. That was a great learning experience.
100%. You got to be ready for anything and be as creative as possible.
And almost every sequence that she tried worked.
I know, it was so close to working every time. And she made that look so easy when it actually did work.
Yeah.
And with that zone, it just moved her up into second place anyway, so it's in a good spot still. Natalia getting ready to get on women's number 2 with her first attempt. I'll be interested to see if she does a heel hook just right out the gate, actually.
Low heel.
Yeah. I feel like
Strong.
I had a feeling that was going to happen. Nice little toe hook there to suck
Really
her in.
squeeze, yeah.
Really good control of the swing.
That pulling up and bending her arms to absorb that momentum, because when you do a swing like that and your arms are straight, it puts all that momentum and that weight on your fingertips. And that's a lot for your fingers, no matter how strong your fingers are. That's a lot for your fingers to hold. And so as soon as you bend your arms, it puts that momentum absorption into your biceps and your shoulders. So it's a super smart technique.
wedging her way into this last section of the boulder. Kind of got stuck in that heel for a second, but one hand on the finish, just needs two. And a flash for Natalia Grossman.
I would expect nothing less.
Really nicely done by Natalia Grossman. Just easily getting into this release move, like Alex said, really pulling up into the biceps to control that swing, and then quickly move into that final section and making it look easy with another top.
Awesome angle from the left there. Thanks, guys.
That's true. Very nice. With that, that moves her up into second place. Kyra Condi still ahead by attempts. And with that, we are already moving into that third boulder. Wow, this is flying by.
Yeah.
Here's a quick look at women's number 3. Another slab climb. I guess our first boulder wasn't so much a slab, more vertical, but here we have a nice slab with lots of volumes, lots of dual textured holds. The women are going to have to trust their feet a lot, though they have had to in the previous rounds this week, so they should be used to it.
This is a boulder that I sequenced initially and came out and had the initial thought that was, ooh, I wouldn't like this. And then, and you can't catch yourself having thoughts like that, because that gets in you walk out and you're like, oh, this doesn't look like my style at all. And then all of a sudden you're approaching the boulder with a negative perspective, and that puts you in a headspace that does not set you up for success. And then
Here are our current standings after women's number 2. Kyra Condi in first, Natalia Grossman in second, Brooke Rabbit third, Kylie Cullen fourth, Megan Lynch fifth, and Campbell Saranopoulos in that 6th place spot right now. Kyra going for another attempt on this slab boulder. Nice toe hook there. Kind of fell out of it with a little bit of a barn door, but something she can fix. Like I said earlier, all of these screw-ons that are on those volumes are dual textured, so they have a nice textured side, or a grippy side, and then a slippery side, which is going to make it pretty tricky for the women to stand on those holds. Toe hook worked that time. See if she can make her way up into the zone. Nicely into that zone hold, trying to place her foot on that textured spot on that foothold, avoiding the slippery part of it. This is actually the slowest I've ever seen Kyra move.
Yeah, and it's an interesting change of pace from the first 2 boulders, where the one you had to come out literally swinging and charging. And then the second one was another like sort of powerful dynamic boulder, and so they're gonna throw this slab boulder at you, boulder 3, and really have to make you like slow your heart rate down and slow your pace down.
Moving those hips over, getting set up nicely to get to the top. Just needs to make her way over. Oh, gonna lose it at the last second. Plenty of time to get back up there. And honestly, from the semifinal round to this round, she rushed the tops a lot, so it was really nice to see her take a different approach and go a little bit slower. So we've got a guest in the booth, our lead champion tonight, Mr. Sean Bailey. Welcome.
What's up? How's it going?
Great. How are you?
That's a radio voice if I've ever heard one.
Boom.
Dang.
What do you think of the boulders so far for the women?
I haven't seen too much, but they look cool. They look hard. So I think it gives everyone an opportunity to try hard and hopefully find some success.
Kyra getting back up into that zone hold.
This is something that she's really actively been working on in the training center lately. If you've been watching any of her videos or stories, slowing down, slab, trusting her feet, walking across volumes, and even these sort of like pressy mantle finishes. This is something that she knows going into August the Tokyo 21 games, she's going to have to get good at everything all around, and this is something that she's been actively improving.
Looks like she's going to not go for another attempt, but honestly, from the earlier rounds to now, that was a really good effort on the slab boulder. She just couldn't find that. No, it's okay. She couldn't, she couldn't find that right body position, though. She was too left with her hips. She just needed to open her hips up a little bit to actually get over to the top.
And really trust that blue left foot.
Yeah, I almost felt like her foot was fighting it a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, that seems like the hardest boulder to do in a comp round in a way. It's not the hardest physically maybe, but mentally and standing on those feet, and yeah, those smears look bad. So
they do look bad. And I don't know, I personally think that maybe a right foot there could be good.
Right foot on the blue?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, try it.
Huh. Step through and then go for like swing the left flag.
Yeah.
Or left foot into like a flaggy smear.
Or if you're left, actually if you have your left foot there, maybe just facing your hips the other direction and maybe even throwing an inside flag to stop your momentum when you hit the top.
You've been spending a lot of time in the training center. Sean, do you think the practice there has prepared you for this round and this event?
Yeah, I mean, as much as you can anywhere in the States. We've been climbing on a lot of comp style boulders, and it's been helping for sure. And we've been doing a bunch of mock rounds, so we get some funky stuff, and yeah, it's been good. I've been there the last like 2 months or so, so I'm sticking to plastic for a minute.
Almost able to catch that toe hook for Campbell Serenopoulos. She doesn't have a score currently, hasn't been able to hit any of the zones yet, but plenty of time left here to make it happen.
It's been interesting to see them do this first move dynamic. I sequenced static, which is funny for me because I have like the weakest legs on earth, but I've been mountain biking and hiking a lot lately, so I have more faith in my pistol squats.
It's funny because I actually didn't see the route setters try the bottom of this boulder. They were just trying the top when I got here earlier, so I also sequenced it static, and that's also weird because I'm dynamic when I climb, so that doesn't really make sense.
Interesting. I walked up there. It looked like maybe it could go either way.
Like static with a press.
Yeah,
like
maybe,
I sequenced a press.
Yeah, I see that too, kind of.
Yeah, because they're not really using that hold currently when they are. I mean, I guess they use it later, but it is good enough to press on. Like, you just rock up into it.
Yeah, for sure. There's so much fast stuff these days, though, that sometimes it's actually harder to find the static stuff.
Yeah, and you get a little bit of tunnel vision when it comes to trying to be dynamic or coordinated, and you forget that sometimes you have to slow down.
For sure. Especially when you got a 15-foot sideways dyno in the first boulder. You're ready for it.
Right?
You know?
You're like, we're going for it.
For sure.
Motors are running. We're jumping. We're running. It's all happening. No one's slowing down. But
so it's been a year since you've competed, and now we're back. Things are definitely different. And how has it been sort of as an athlete during COVID, training and now competing and coming back into the first clump in over a year? What's it been like?
Yeah, I mean, it's been interesting for sure. I was actually pretty glad to get a little break, I think. I needed it. I just spent a long time climbing outside, and even the last like 2-3 months ago, I was kind of just chasing weather and trying outside projects and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's cool to be back. I didn't realize how much I'd miss it probably, and like how fast I'd miss it. So it's cool to get back in the scene, even though it's it's obviously like way different now. But at least we got some sort of comp, so it's cool.
did you feel like there is a big difference between a mock comp and this competition? Like, did you think that you were going to come into this and feel similar to the mock comp, and then when you got here, was it different, or?
For me, it's super different for sure. Yeah, it takes a lot out of me to do comps, and you put a lot into it. And mock comps are great for training, but you can't really replicate the real thing and the feeling. And you know, all the expectations and what you're trying to accomplish. So, yeah, this is totally different for sure.
It's historically been hard for me to get into that mindset at mock comps, no matter how much you try.
I mean, I don't even
No,
want
it's
to.
not a real.
No, honestly, because I don't know, you're just like climbing with your homies, and it's like I'm not necessarily trying to compete with them all the time, so
Right.
I don't want to get into that mode.
And I feel like those moments of being in that zone of complete focus that you get in a World Cup final, those moments are like, for me, so fleeting and so rare that I almost don't want to waste them in a mock comp. Like, it's
For
hard for me
sure.
to get into that mentality. And
I feel the exact same way, honestly. I try to not get into it because I know that I only have like so many. There's just so much energy to like do something like that I'm trying to save it up for the
When it
stuff
matters.
that really matters
Yeah.
for sure.
Kylie Cullen is just walking this boulder, which is no surprise as she is quite a talented slab climber. She got right into that toe hook at the beginning, no problem. Already into the zone. See if she can figure out a better body position to get over to that top hold.
Yeah, this last move looks crazy sketchy to me though.
Just wait till women's number 4.
right.
Dude, I know. Should we go spot?
We're
I'm
going to
gonna-
need to
I'm gonna
move the
name
lights
it-
and the lift and the chairs.
Dude, we might need to move. I don't know.
She's got one hand on the top, more secure than Kyra did, and look, 2
Awesome
hands on top
finish.
for Kylie
And
Cullen.
that's a flash.
Yep, really nicely done by another one of our younger competitors.
You
Yeah.
could say dark horse, but she won an event in 2019 that Puccio was at, I was at, Chloe Koskoi was at, and she kind of housed all of us.
Crazy.
Exactly, you can't count the young guns out.
No way.
They might not be as experienced, but they're very talented,
They come with hunger.
and they have nothing to lose.
Right, for sure.
Dude, it's like it's the easiest time to be a competitor in a way. You know?
Best of both worlds.
For sure.
So far, we've seen a top on every boulder. So again, the route setters are doing a really good job of making sure the boulders get topped, but not by too many people and not by too few people.
Wait, I missed it. What's the breakdown right now? Who's done what?
Oh, so we have the
Oh,
scores
it's
right
right
here,
here, dude.
actually,
I'm
if you want to check it out.
No, that's cool.
So we've got all 3 boulders topped so far, with a couple athletes doing the first 2. And now Kylie Cullen doing the third. Megan Lynch was in the right position. It looks like she's kind of bobbled out of it there the last second.
I missed her height, but it can be kind of hard. We were talking about the Shindex earlier.
Yeah.
Fitting into these positions, especially like knee bars like we saw on the men's routes and toe hooks like here on the girls' route, like if you have a longer shin, sometimes getting into a knee bar can be hard, or if you're like me on center direct and bishop, that climb is 8B. Because you have to fit in this box, and sometimes the box, it doesn't cater to your body shape, and that could be you're too tall, you're too short, you're too, I don't know.
100%. She's 5'5", so I think she should be fine. I mean, Kylie's 5'4", but she should be able to get into it.
Have you ever heard knee lock before?
No.
No.
Because I just opened up this book the other day and it said knee lock, and I didn't know if it was like a whole new thing or like similar to knee bars or like what was
What kind of
going on.
book?
But
Yeah.
Like a climbing book?
it's like how to climb.
How to climb 101.
Pretty much.
Use your knee lock.
I don't remember if it's the how to gym climb or the how to climb, but it was one of them.
Sean Bailey, World Cup athlete, reading How to Climb
We're all learning.
every day.
We can never stop learning. I'm glad you're getting your literature in.
Well
Knee
read.
lock.
Well read.
I feel like Megan's getting a little bit in her head here. She was in the right position on that very first attempt, but I feel like she isn't trusting herself as much at this moment. And she, again, it's interesting because qualifiers, semifinals, we haven't seen her rush like this.
Mhm.
And I think she's getting a little stressed and rushing again. And
Yes,
she just
she
needs to
was-
calm down like she was earlier because it was working for her.
Yeah, dominant in the first 2 rounds, and
So
this is the
dominant.
round where there's really
Nothing to lose. It's the cherry on
Yeah.
top. Well,
So there's
actually, that's
no-
not true. There is a national team spot to be fighting for, but it's still
Yeah, there's no other round to qualify for, so the jitters should be gone, you know, theoretically.
exactly. And you know when you're more relaxed that you can perform better, but
Tough though, toughest
It is
round
tough.
to keep it together.
It is
for
Right.
tough. Though I wonder, did you feel a little different having no crowd here? Did the final feel less intense to you?
I don't know. It honestly just feels kind of awkward to me in a way. Like, I know, of course it's got to be like this, but you're so used to the noise and yeah, I feel like you can really feel the energy. So when it's a little lower, it's maybe less stressful for some, but it feels different. So for me, it's almost like I'm a little thrown, if anything.
Totally.
I feel the same way. I'm a performer.
Same.
Climbing and competing is, I don't know, I hear the crowd and it puts me sort of more in the zone, and so this event would be almost wouldn't feel real or wouldn't feel serious to me, like it would feel like a mock comp. because there
Exactly.
is no
That's
crowd.
why I asked that question earlier, because I almost feel like it could feel that way without having a crowd here. It could feel so similar to a mock comp. And I'm with you guys. Like, I have a hard time fully getting into it. It's like I don't want to get into a mock comp, but at the same time, I'm terrified.
Right.
For sure.
I'm like, can I
for
quit?
sure.
And I feed on that, and that's sort of what helps me engage that like blackout, honed in focus where you like pull on the wall and then you forget, you don't remember anything, and you come to like on the finish and you're just like, what happened? Someone's like, what beta did you use? And you're like, I have no idea. And the crowd really helps me sort of get into that mode.
Yeah, it can do something else for sure.
Unfortunately, Megan Lynch walked away with another no zone boulder, no top boulder, so she's still at a score of 0. Brooke Rabatou, brush in hand, ready to go brush those slab holds. Very smart move. Well, don't you guys always brush the slab holds? I feel like that's my
I brush
first
all the
thing.
holds.
Well, yeah, that
you
too.
gotta
but-
brush all the holds for sure. It's the most important thing.
One, it
quite.
cleans
Whoa.
them off,
Oh,
and
did she take
New
the
brush.
wrong brush? I don't know.
that one must have broke.
Oh yeah, you can see
Oh.
it right there. Maybe.
Are you sure they give you little brushes as well?
New rule at this event here, you can't use your own brush.
Yes. Well, yes, it's a new rule to the U.S., but it's always been the IFSC rule. Your personal brush is
Big
not allowed,
no-no.
which I've noticed most of the women haven't even brought a brush out, which I think is really smart, so they don't forget.
You don't accidentally use it.
That would be so easy.
I put super glue on mine.
That's
Just
a
for
great
friction or
method.
like-
Yeah, totally.
That's cool.
Look,
helps-
we're
helps me
seeing a
stick.
static approach here
Yay!
by Brooke Rabatou. Let's see if she can make that work. Nicely into that hold and coming back down.
I've changed my mind. I think it's dynamic.
I think she might have changed her mind too. Oh, no. Really sticking to this more static direction. I do think on this next attempt she's going to go more dynamic.
I like that idea though.
I do too. Did you see her creativity on number 2? You missed it. It's all good. You can go back and watch the live stream. Get us more views.
On USA Climbing / YouTube / something.
Another reason for like when I brush, it's 1 to take the chalk off the holds, and then 2, the brush kind of feels like an extension of your hands, and so when you're like like fondling the brush around on the holds, you can kind of tell like where the good part is, or where the edges are, or how good the hold is.
So I'm just being told that one of the comments on the YouTube is that people would like Sean to do a podcast and title it Climbing with the Homies. What do you think? You up
Dude,
for it?
where is that comment? Can I see that?
I don't have it pulled up here, but if you do it, we would love to be your guest.
It's food for thought.
If you
for
want to
sure.
make some room for your climbing / commentating homies, let us know.
I'll consider it for sure. You guys will be on if I do it, definitely.
Awesome. Let's see if Brooke can figure out that toe hook. I'm honestly, there she goes. I was going to say, Brooke Rabatou is someone who loves to do a toe hook, so I'm actually surprised that wasn't her first decision there, but did a great job of sticking with it and making sure she kept trying different things. She's done really good at this competition, specifically at trying different things and making them work. Nicely into the zone.
That's a high zone.
It really is. It's actually probably one of the highest zones we've seen thus far.
And with making like the first move such a low percentage, like get on the wall start, it is surprising that they put it so high, but they know what they're doing. Usually.
For the most part, right?
Yeah.
No, they do a great job. Brooke trying to set up to get over to the top.
The top of that
slip.
hold is dual text, so it's like a dual text, grippy dual text sandwich, and the way that they've angled it, the top of it is dual text.
I honestly think she does have enough time if she gets on the wall right now, like off of the start. Ooh, really nice.
Not a girl. Time to motor.
Just because I feel like she is one of the athletes who can confidently move through the slab.
Quickly. Like quicker.
Just jump. Just kidding. Could you imagine though, what if she jumped to the top and held it? That would have been insane. She took a little bit too long to figure out that beginning section of the boulder, but really good stick-to-itiveness in trying to figure out how to get to that zone. Really bummed that she had that slip at the top. It's always hard to watch somebody just like slip when you know that they had it.
Right.
But it happens, and again, another competitor who is at this competition, and it's more of a training for the Olympics rather than worrying about making the team or, you know, being 100% World Cup ready right now, because she has a different goal in mind at the moment.
She's on a different training block, different training schedule, and she's using her time and experience here really wisely by trying different things and figuring out what works. It doesn't matter what place she gets here, so if she can try 7 different sequences,
yeah,
that's learning for her.
Like, you generally don't have that luxury.
Right.
Like, now is the time.
Oh, maybe this will work. This is out of this world. And then she's like, whoa, it did. Put that in the move
and
quiver.
It's exciting. It's honestly really exciting for us to see how creative she can be and seeing different movements. It's always fun.
Was that a legit start?
I don't think so.
Dang, been there.
Savage.
Yeah.
You remember that World Cup in China when Tomoa didn't start right? Well, like one of the most decorated World Cup. He just started his run and jump, put 3 on, didn't even tap his foot, and they were like, Tomoa, no! And he would have won if he basically flashed it. They called him off, and
So
it's
brutal.
devastating
So
when that
brutal.
happens.
Yeah.
Natalia
so it literally
is moving.
happens to the best of them.
It can happen to anyone.
You
She's
just get
moving so
stoked.
quickly through this boulder, already on the zone, getting ready to set up to get to that final hold. Let's see what approach she takes.
She's really dropping her heels, and I think it's helping on that volume.
100%. She has a really nice wingspan too. She has like a +3, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, nicely into that finishing hold, and another top for Natalia Grossman. Super quick. If you blinked, you might have missed it.
That would have been a flash, I think, aside
Yep.
if she hadn't been called off. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite
And
her.
and that's something that going forward she'll have to make sure to remember. Here she goes to start the climb and doesn't remember to tap her foot down here and just goes and steps up, and that is not a legal 4-point start, but she was able to fix it later, and that cost her her flash, but she still was able to get a top at the end of the day, and she's again with 3 tops going into the 4th boulder. See if she can make the 4th boulder happen today. She's really been incredible lately. It's been really cool to watch her journey over the last 1.5 to 2 years, because she really just like flipped a switch and has become unstoppable. And you've trained with her quite a bit at the training center, Sean. How's it been for you?
I mean, she's strong. Yeah, she's super strong. She's she's climbing with the best of them, and I frequently see her do stuff that I didn't necessarily know she would, and it's always impressive every time. So it's cool to watch. It's cool to be around.
Awesome. I love that you guys are all training at the training center. I think it's cool that there's so much group training going on, and I think it's really good for the U.S. team. I think it'll make everyone stronger. I mean, we've always looked at the other countries and seen how solidified they were as a team, and it's just so cool to see that happening now for the U.S., and especially at this time with the Olympics coming up. We're going to be or not we, I'm not on it anymore, but you all will be ready
Yeah, it's
for
great.
everything coming up.
It's great in COVID times too that we actually have a place we can go, and we know they'll be open. It's a tough time to climb right now, so.
That it is. Kyra Condi getting ready to get on women's number 4. You just saw her brush that zone hold really quickly. Remember that with this scoring system, you only get points for the zone and the top, and with the zone, you have to show usage. You can't just touch it. You have to actually use the zone in order to get credit for it. Kyra trying to find that toe hook. Gets on it. It's a little tricky to find it, actually. She had to wiggle around.
It looks
Yeah.
quite far.
She also, I think she went too low. I think if she had tried to get her foot more in the middle, it wouldn't have been so far, but.
This is a cool boulder.
Yeah.
This was my favorite one that I sequenced.
I agree.
The
I
end
can't
is going to
remember
be
if he gave us
insane.
a name for this one.
This sequence looks hard.
Yeah.
That edge is flat, but definitely not in cut.
Oh, I remember we came up with this one. It's called Figure It Out because there's a figure 4 on it.
Kyra's kind of fighting to the death here on this. That was like a move that other competitors could have been like, whoa, that's hard, and sort of like
So this
pull the chute, but
last move is going to be pretty intense.
Here we
It's
go.
quite the jump.
Oh, nice.
Nicely done by Kyra Condi, and she's extremely happy with that. And we had a nice spotter down there just in case she flew off the top. We want to keep the athletes safe here. After that semifinal round, it is really nice to see Kyra really come out here and show everybody how good she is at rock climbing or plastic climbing as you have it, and just dominating this round.
and for her, it's just a huge confidence booster for her. She can get her in her head a lot, and this is huge to basically solidify that her training is paying off. That's got to feel really good.
Kyra will also be competing in bouldering and speed climbing this week, so this is only the beginning of her competition. This is the standings going into the boulder number 4, but this doesn't include Kyra's current score. We'll have to wait and see if that top moves her up above Natalia Grossman. But really nice climbing from Kyra Condi. We really only saw her struggle a little.
The end of Boulder 3.
The end of Boulder 3, because she really turned it on those overhanging climbs, and even the run across, she got that done within a couple of tries. So really nice climbing there from Kyra tonight. Campbell Serenopoulos having her first look at women's number 4. We'll see if she does the figure 4 approach. I honestly didn't see if Kyra did. She moved so quickly.
She basically did like a one arm.
I figured she would. I didn't think she actually would do the figure 4 because she doesn't need to.
Actually, she grabbed her wrist and did like the one arm that way, and Campbell just did like the on top
Pocket match, yeah. I actually was thinking about that too, because that pocket for the right hand start is pretty deep.
Sinker.
Yeah. So a lot of the women might, it'll be interesting to see if anyone actually does the figure 4.
I bet we'll get one.
Yeah. We have to, right?
We got
Odds
it.
are.
We got it.
Campbell did a nice job getting to the middle of that block so that she didn't have to search for the toe hook as long. A little bit twisted there, though.
Not including our Olympians and Natalia, this World Cup team going into the season is pretty fresh. There are a few athletes in finals who I don't believe have ever done a World Cup, and so we'll have some veterans, hopefully to lead the charge, and then some green World Cup athletes this season if we do.
Yeah, I think both
Countdowns here.
Kylie and Campbell have only done youth World Cups, so this would be their first chance at adult World Cups. Pretty impressive though to go straight from youth into the adult scene and quickly get in the finals. I remember Margot Hayes did that at Bouldering Nationals, her first Bouldering Nationals. I think it was her first, it might have been her second, but early on, one of the athletes who started progressing in the adult comps quickly, and I mean, as most people know, she's done a lot of amazing things since then, so there's something to that for sure. Right?
Definitely. Yeah, it's cool to see the new talent for sure.
Campbell trying to figure out how to get around to that little screw on that block hold. Nicely done that time, didn't get all twisted up.
It's kind of a new take on a classic foot first move here. Like we've seen feet first before, but it's a little, every time it's a little different. This is kind of cool.
Oh, just barely missing that zone hold, and she really needs a zone because she has yet to get one. So to walk away with a zone at the end of the round, I mean, that's always nice.
Right, end on a good note, you know?
100%. I remember one World Cup, I was in semis, and it was the first time I qualified in semis really high. And then I climbed and touched every bone or every zone and didn't get credit for one of them. It was the saddest day ever after a great day the day before. I qualified in like third on my side.
World Cup semis are so savage, though. They are so hard.
There were a few we saw last summer. Last summer didn't happen. 2019 summer, where it was like 2 zones get you into finals. Like
seriously.
Some gnarly World Cup semis. And it always sucks to walk away from a round after like a total beatdown. So ending on a zone here for Campbell, for her, would really be cool for this round because, in my experience, walking away on a high note is awesome.
And she definitely has enough time to get there. And she's capable of getting to the zone. And there she goes. She gets the zone. So points on the board for Campbell Saranopoulos. A really great entree into adult bouldering finals. I'm expecting to see some great things from her in the future. Nice little recap of Campbell getting to that zone hold. She really had to fight to stay on. Her foot kind of slipped at the last second, and it's a good thing she was able to. Didn't really have enough time to finish the boulder, but great effort out there and a great way of sticking to it and not getting bogged down by the previous boulders, really able to let go of each boulder that she was on before and keep fighting. Kylie Cullen getting ready. +6 wingspan.
No way. That is crazy.
I know. I'm so jealous.
What do you got?
I have a +1. I'm 5'4", barely.
Okay, it could be worse though. You could have a minus because we know those people.
I know. I can't.
-0.5.
I honestly can't complain. I'm just being old and bitter.
+3 here. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Nice.
Could be
Me
better
too.
though. Nice.
+3.
All right, you two. This start is actually pretty funny. It's like a frog tap. It is
They've
interesting
all
that
done it different.
Yeah, but still no figure 4 yet. Oop, got to get more to the center to find that toe hook.
I don't know, I feel like as boulders sequencing routes like this, like in your mind, you're like, oh, it could be a figure 4. And then you're like, no, if I do that, it's cheesy.
Exactly.
Or what if it's not the sequence, then I look dumb.
But at the end of the day, it's whatever works.
Totally.
Who cares what you look like?
Put your knee on, crimp behind the volume, put
Alex,
your toe in the bowl hole.
Alex thinks that a knee is dabbing. I strongly disagree.
I could go either way.
Kylie looking really good here, getting ready to set up for that jump. Does it really nicely. And again, you saw her pull up at the end to really control the swing. I am pretty sure that was her first attempt.
I believe it was. I didn't see her fall before that.
It's a flash there for Kylie Cullen. It has been confirmed and really nicely pulling into that jug. And you can tell she's smiling even though she's got a mask on. Really nice climbing from her tonight. Her first adult final, and she gets bumped up to 3rd currently. So she's in a great spot to be eligible for that team spot. And then you know, get in on some of those World Cups this season.
Yeah, 2 flashes is big too.
It's really big. Yeah.
She's climbed well all weekend, so it's cool to see the consistency too. You know, it's always interesting whether you see people like place high, low, high, or low, high, low, and then consistency, I think, is really important in these events, and being consistent is so hard, especially you go into World Cups and it's super consistent. It's really hard to be consistent. You could be in finals one weekend and the very next weekend you get 30th place, and we see that happen all the time. And so it's really cool seeing athletes who can like carry that consistency through 3 rounds.
100%. Megan Lynch just waiting for that go ahead for her time to start. Remember, there's a 4-minute clock. She is really going to be looking to get the zone here, and as well as a top. Struggled a bit in this round, but like we've said many times, it's just not over till it's over. So see if she can make something happen here.
The match over again.
So interesting. No figure 4 yet. Needs to kick her foot up into the middle. Looks a little bit tired. See, the figure 4 would help with that because that would eliminate some of that swinging. So when she needs to kick her foot to the
And like the
block,
single arm campus.
yeah. See if she figures it out.
It's kind of a draining opening sequence.
It definitely is.
Like a pocket campus and then like a full front lever to get your feet up.
Lots of pockets this week in general, from the men's routes to the boulders for the women. Like, I haven't seen this many pockets in a while.
We've already seen 3 monos. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm into it though. It's cool.
No, it's
Spice
fun.
it
Keeping
up.
it, yeah, keeping it really exciting.
To quote Ty Landman again from my favorite dosage segment. Oh, I hate monos, but that feels good to me.
I love how you're also doing the British accent.
Of course.
I just gotta say.
On the fringe. Dosage 5.
I wonder if Ty's watching. He's in med school. I don't
quotable.
know. He's probably really
Busy.
busy studying, but I like that she put her chalk pot far away from the wall, which makes her have to walk back to it and maybe take a second
Force
to
the rest.
yeah, look at the boulder from another perspective.
Two minutes is still plenty of time to make a top happen here. Might even like wind down the clock to rest and then give her one good go, you know?
Exactly, and even if she gets a zone, that would move her up into, well, actually it depends on her attempts at this point, which I have not been keeping track of.
How many attempts do you guys like to give in a 4-minute round?
3.
3? Nice.
1, I like to flash
Well,
everything.
Well,
obviously
okay, yeah, I
1.
mean, that's ideal, but we're talking hard boulders here. You
There's our
can't
figure
flash.
4. Yeah, I would say 3, unless it's like a risk move or a run and jump or something that's like getting on the boulder like is tricky. Then 4 good, 3 or 4 good goes, because then you get ample rest in between.
Definitely.
Nicely into that toe hook. Needs to just keep it together here. Really glad that she was able to figure out that figure 4. It saved her so much energy getting into that overhanging section. Needs to get to that zone. Oh, just misses it. I do think she has enough time to go, but she is starting to look really fatigued.
3 rounds of competing is a lot of climbing, even though it doesn't necessarily look like so much.
I think it looks like a lot.
I guess I don't know. I'm kind of out of touch.
I feel like that's not really a proper figure 4, but
It's a little backwards.
it
Figure
still
2?
works.
Call that the figure 2.
Unfortunately, she's not going to get a zone here. But great climbing from Megan Lynch this week. It was really great to see her back in competition. Sometimes you don't have the best round, but you just got to move on to the next one. And she's capable of a lot of great climbing, and we saw a lot from her this week.
Still eligible for both of our Salt Lake back-to-back World Cups.
Yep.
May 21st, 22nd, bouldering, and May 28th to 30th is bouldering and speed. And so Megan Lynch will definitely be an athlete at those events.
Yeah, and she looked awesome in semis.
She
so
really did. We were
that's a
blown.
bummer, for sure.
We were blown away by how confident she was climbing. It was really nice to see.
Dominant.
Definitely. Yeah, crazy.
It's looking like in order for Brooke to get 3rd place here, she just needs a top. And then if she can do it quickly, she might even be able to move up further. Not 100% sure, gotta do the math. My math expert, AJ.
I don't think so. I think the best she can do is 3rd. Because Natalia and Kyra have 2 tops. I mean, three tops.
Oh, yep. So she can't do better than 3rd, but she can do 3rd, and definitely a boulder that would suit her. Right into the figure 4.
Nice.
Smart climbing.
Not feeling that would
Could
happen.
that be our Yeti move of the day?
I don't know.
Proper figure
Kyra
4.
sticking that like one hand clamp on
agree.
boulder 2 was nails.
That was nails. I feel like this boulder screams Brooke Rabbit too.
Right.
She, like all about the toe hooks, the heel hooks.
Toe, heel, feet first. Anywhere she can get her lower body above her upper body is like the super Brooke.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
this is her jam.
specific skill set. This is like everything that I'm bad at.
If you could design a boulder specifically for Brooke,
It'd be this.
totally.
And it looks like it right now.
Yeah.
Looking for a flash here. Nice little inside flag.
Crazy what she's doing with her foot there on the volume.
Needs to generate to get here.
Awesome.
Oh, easy. Nice flash from Brooke Rabbitoo, and that'll move her up, I believe. Yep, it'll move her up into 3rd place. Nice finish for Brooke. And we will see her again later in the lead and speed disciplines. But look at that figure 4. So nicely done right off the bat. Really makes that move less taxing, can save the energy, and she didn't even really swing as much, I felt like here. She like really locked it off there.
I think the hardest thing she did on this boulder was chalk up.
I know. Yeah, you don't see that as often in boulders unless you're like standing on a slab.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be good though,
pretty
especially
casual.
the air here is pretty
Oh,
humid.
very
so
humid.
It'll help.
Cool, awesome finish. And a really cool boulder to finish on. You know, it's like tricky, funky, and it ends with sort of a showy finish move. And so cool to end on that boulder.
That was awesome. Natalia does need to top here to walk away with a win. If she just gets the zone, she will not, but I foresee her getting a top, no problem. This is another boulder that I think would suit her really well. You know, Brooke and Natalia specifically spent a lot of time this past summer, climbing in the park. And I feel like this reminds me a little bit of park climbing. Just the feet first, turning around, crossing, heel hooks, toe hooks, holding the tension. Kind of all the things that they've been doing all summer long.
Yeah, they racked up a fat list of like V12, 13, 14.
All in like 30 days.
Right.
It was actually maybe one of the most impressive sends.
Park seasons
Yeah,
ever.
yeah, for sure. Like male or female.
Right, totally. The worst she can do here tonight is 2nd, and so that automatically puts her onto the U.S. national team.
And she did need to do that because she didn't qualify for the Olympics. So this is one of the athletes where it is important where you end up at the end of the competition. Also choosing to go straight into that figure 4. Having a little trouble finding that toe hook, but able to make it happen. Really fluid.
Missing the jib, though. She's got to get her left.
She's like, I don't need it.
Doesn't matter.
That is a good pinch, though, too.
Yeah.
Nice
And it
little
allowed
wrap.
her to be able to set the heel immediately and not have to bump her hand out of the way to get the heel on.
Yeah, I mean, she honestly might have just done that on purpose to be a little more efficient. Oh.
Just to move the hand out of the way.
That's interesting.
Just test it out.
Doesn't really like that jib.
No, the top of that looks, she's the last climber,
grimy.
so it probably needed to be brushed, but Yoink. There
No
we go.
problem.
Easy.
Holds that swing, pulls up into the jug nicely, and 4 tops tonight for Natalia Grossman. Absolutely dominating this round.
Secures first place for her, and I know we're not crowning a national champion at this event. It's only selecting the national team, but she's the national team trials champion.
Yeah, which is,
I don't know.
I mean, if you want to do World Cups, that's extremely important. So she did exactly what she came here to do this week. And she's going to be in lead later on. So we'll see if she can
Join the
make
team.
it
Yeah, join the
happen
team
there
over
as well. Really nice job for Natalia Grossman. What a great bouldering finals round. Those boulders were so exciting and so different.
Super cool to watch. And sequencing, like I had a feeling they would be entertaining, fun. They looked like really fun boulders to climb too. Nothing really like tweaky or painful.
We actually have really good separation as well. I mean, you have 4 tops, 3, 2, 2, zone, no zone, no tops. I mean, it's nice separation.
Yeah, the root setters should be stoked.
And they did a great job in this format. I know a lot of the athletes have done this format at international competitions, but no one's had a competition in a while, and so getting into it quickly was great. Anyway, thank you so much, Sean, for joining us. It was really nice to have your insight, and again, congratulations on winning tonight and making that national team, and we can't wait to see you in the boulders.
Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, I'll try. See you guys later.
Bye.
Thanks, Sean. So we're gonna do awards here in a second. We have standings for you popping up on the screen soon, and stick around. We are gonna do awards. We're gonna interview Natalia, and then we're gonna show you guys our women's 2021 national bouldering team. So don't go anywhere.
These are our standings. Natalia Grossman in first, Kyra Connie in second, Brooke Rabitou in third, Kylie Cullen fourth, Campbell Saranopoulos fifth, and Megan Lynch rounding out in 6th place. Natalia, congratulations on not only making the national team, but winning tonight. And this is the second time you've won a bouldering event. Can you hear me okay? You can't hear me? So I'm gonna say that again. Congratulations on winning tonight and making that national team. And this is the second big bouldering event that you've won. How does it feel to have that consistency going for you?
I don't know, it's pretty exciting. I didn't know what to expect really, just because we haven't had a comp in over a year now. So I think just, it felt great to be out here again and apply everything I've learned in the past year, especially regarding like my mental game and stuff. I think, I don't know, it was just fun to be out again, and yeah, psyched.
So knowing that those 2 back-to-back Salt Lake World Cups are going to happen, what does it mean to you to be able to represent the U.S. at those events, and then also at the international events like Meiringen and Innsbruck?
Yeah, so it's been a goal of mine to make the team ever since I knew this comp was going to happen, so I'm pretty excited to represent my country and get to hopefully travel a little bit. And yeah, I'm excited.
What would you attribute your growth in the last couple years to? Is it training? Like, what are some things that you were doing different to really like step up your game?
I think I learned a lot about how much your mental game can play a role. And even just like in the past few months, I'm taking a sports psychology class because I'm a psychology major, and it's been really cool like applying what I've learned there to this comp, I guess.
Well, I think you're doing a great job on all fronts, applying all of the knowledge you're learning, and you're competing better than ever. Congratulations again, and I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you.
Awesome interview from Natalia there. So we're trying to set up for awards. Don't go anywhere. I know that this is usually when people clear out of the gym, but nobody's in here. So stick around and you guys can watch awards and also get a first sneak peek at your 2021 national bouldering team. So we'd like to thank YETI and the North Face, Cliff, Petzl, Entrepris, Add a Day, True Blue, Gnarly, and Rapid Reboot. These events would not be possible without USA Climbing sponsors. And also, High Point Climbing and Fitness. It is amazing that these guys shut this gym down for 5 days for us to host this event in the midst of a pandemic when gyms are already closed and struggling. And so, big thank you to High Point Climbing and Fitness. It's been amazing hosting this event here. A lot of COVID precautions have been in place. We've all been in masks. We've all been tested. A lot of us have our first vaccine, and so we're as being safe as we possibly can here. And I think a lot of people are just grateful and excited to be back at a climbing event. It's been over a year. Really fun to watch.
Testing. All right, guys, we're going to announce the awards. So athletes, get ready to come up to the cooler stage. At this time, presenting the awards brought to you by YETI. We have Bruce Mitchell, President of USA Climbing, Mark Norman, CEO of USA Climbing, Keith Gressel, General Manager of High Point Climbing and Fitness, Jesse Markowitz, Mountain Marketing Manager for YETI. Winning the bronze medal and already representing the USA as an Olympic qualifier is Brooke Rabatou. Winning the silver medal and also already representing USA as an Olympic qualifier, Kyra Condi. winning the gold medal in the 2021 National Team Trials, representing USA and gaining a position on Team USA is Natalia Grossman. And our other two athletes that will be representing Team USA are Kylie Cullen and Campbell Saranopoulos. They also qualify for that national team and will be competing internationally at the World Cups. Congratulations, ladies. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Please be sure to come back at 7 p.m. on Monday for speed finals.
In low slips, it was double hand catch the zone hold. Out to the right.
I think winter has become my favorite season here. That's when you get those dramatic views, brings out all the colors and the gray pops, and it just, I feel like it's kind of like Mecca or the center of the universe. It's not a fluffy place to come. It's not a feel good, boost your ego. It's just like, you get a beating. Yeah, if I could only climb one place for the rest of my life, it would be Yosemite.
Since 1966, we have viewed walls not as obstacles, but as opportunities. From the big walls of Yosemite to the high peaks of the Himalaya, we were searching for a personal kind of freedom. In this pursuit, we found a community, strengthened by different stories, experiences, and perspectives. This community has shown us that the only way forward is together.
Oh, here we go again.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others. Join the fight.